Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're just going to talk some breaking news and talk a little bit about this weekend's boxing action. Not a lot going on this weekend. There is a few fight nights going on, a few big fights, some good domestic ones in England. Last weekend there wasn't much boxing on either. It was only that Misfits card. I don't know if you guys watched it. I didn't watch it. I watched a few of the highlights. I mean, we've all seen the Darren Till, Luke Rockhold sleeper. I mean, if you're a UFC fan, you're probably taken more out of that than anything else on the night. Tony Ferguson as well getting the win. But not really my sort of event, so I didn't really go much talking about it, and we're not going to really talk about it now. Let's get into some boxing news. Lopez versus Stevenson negotiations positive for January. Yep, yeah, when it's finalized, when it's done, when it's written in paper, when we have a date, I'll believe it. Until then, it's just paper talk, isn't it? It's just get it done. Get it done. We want to see the fight. For me, I said this the other day, early doors, I'm probably backing Shakur Stevenson in this fight. I think he's so good. I think he showed how good he was against William Zepeda. Teofimo Lopez, his last outing, it was all right. Um, it wasn't spectacular. It was on a poor night of boxing, and he might have been the best boxer on the shittest night of boxing, but nothing special. And this fight, if it's going to be early 2026, we're talking near a year off. How long are we talking? 10 months. Like Teofimo, I want to see you more active. You're a young man. Come on, let's get it done. Let's do it. How many times Shakur's fought twice this year? Josh Padley and William Zepeda. So no excuses for me. All right, the WBA have crowned a new number one contender within their governing body. Moses Itauma is now the number one WBA heavyweight fighter in the world. I went into this more in depth on the video I just filmed about Fabio Wardley versus Joseph Parks. Check that out. For me, I think this has a lot to do with Fabio Wardley, if I'm being honest. And like I said, check that video out and I'll go into more depth. But for Moses Itauma, he's now number one WBA, number one WBO, I believe. I do think so. It's either WBO or another one, but he's at least number one and two. Are we? I'm still not. I'm still not with it. I'll be honest. I'm still not with it. I think his age is the reason he's number one. I do. I think his age is the reason he's number one. I think there's so much hype that if a 28-year-old had his run, a 29-year-old, if it was like a 30-year-old Russian, he wouldn't be number one. Let's be honest. If he was like a 30-year-old Russian or a 30-year-old Cuban or wherever he wouldn't be number one. In my opinion, I don't believe he would be bumped by beating Mike Balogun and Dillian White. That's harsh, maybe, but for me, I'm not with it yet. I think, look, that's not taking credit away from Moses Itauma. I think Moses Itauma is outstanding, and he is most definitely the future of the heavyweight division. I think we're going to see a superstar, an absolute superstar. And I love the fact that they're not rushing him into this. My only criticism is I don't think he's number one in the organizations. It's more of a reflection of how the organizations work rather than what Moses Itauma himself is doing. I want to make that very clear because I do love the kid. I think he's outstanding. I think he's got everything about him. And I think the way Frank Warren's managing it is excellent, to be honest. All right, last bit of news I just want to touch on. It is some Aussie boxing news. I know you, US and UK might not care, might not know who they are, but I do cover the Aussie boxing events, so I do like to talk about it. We will talk more in depth when this event gets closer. I did just want to speak about it quickly because I think it's very, very, very good news for Aussie boxing. Jasmine Parr is going to take on Maya Solomon for the IBF International title November 7th. Down in Melbourne. So big fight for Jazzy Parr. I think she's unbelievable. I saw her fight last month, the back end of it. There's some media work that I did as well with her. So very excited for this fight. All right, let's talk about this weekend's action. We'll cover all of that when it gets closer. I did just want to say because the announcement came out. This weekend, we have a few fights going on, a few days that they're fighting. On Thursday, September 4th, Osles Iglesias will attempt to defend his IBO super middleweight belt again. He's taking on Vladimir Shishkin this Thursday, September 4th, live from the Montreal Casino. Iglesias, we all know who he is. 27-year-old Cuban, 13 wins, 12 knockouts, ring number 3, IBF number 3, and WBC number 6. And he's going to be taking on the 34-year-old Russian, Vladimir Shishkin. Again, another fighter we are all familiar with. 16 wins, 10 knockouts, 1 loss, ring number 9, and IBF number 2. Vladimir Shishkin, now, you would have noticed he's got the 1 loss in his record. He's coming off the back of that IBF super middleweight world title fight against William Skull in October 2024. So we're looking at almost a year off since that world title fight. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Did not watch any of Vladimir Shishkin's fights. But that's fine. I still going to talk about it. Not in depth, not give you a perfect analysis of it. But it is an important fight in the landscape of the super middleweight belt because they are both so highly ranked. The one thing I would take out of it is Iglesias I would compare probably to William Skull. We're talking about a good amateur and professional Cuban fighter. Obviously, Vladimir Shishkin couldn't deal with William Skull. William Skull obviously didn't offer much against Canelo either, so we're going to see. I would expect probably Iglesias to win off the back of that, and if so, there's big names in that super middleweight belt. We got Pacheco, we got Shiraz, we got Mbili. They're all vying for a world title shot, and for me, you've got to beat one of those to put your hand up for it. So I would expect the winner of this fight to start looking towards one of those, probably Pacheco. Out of all of them, probably Pacheco. And Billy's got fights lined up. Hamza Shiraz, I'm not sure about. Maybe Hamza Shiraz. To be honest, there's really nobody there that you want to fight. But the titles are all locked up at the moment, and depending on how Canelo Crawford goes will depend on what happens to those belts. So we'll have to wait and see. All right, let's quickly move on. Saturday, the 6th of September, Eduardo Sugar Nunez. Now, he's going to attempt to defend his newly acquired IBF Super Featherweight World title. He's taking on Christopher Diaz-Vargas live this weekend in Los Mochis, Mexico. Eduardo Sugar Nunez, I was so impressed with in his last fight for the title against Masori Rikishi. That was for a vacant IBF belt, but I thought Sugar Nunez, I think, was the underdog. I honestly can't remember. It must have been very even odds, though. And I thought Sugar Nunez traveling to Japan against a very good fighter in Rikishi, it's a tough ask. And Sugar Nunez, he went there, fought very, very well, and won the unanimous decision. I definitely gave Sugar Nunez the victory. Was a close fight, but I don't think Rikishi did enough to really put his hand up and say, I won it. I think the decision was fair. It ended up, I think the scorecards were very close. Like, one had it 1 round, one had it 2 rounds, and I think the last one had it 3 rounds difference. But great fight by Sugar Nunez. And it's going to be a tough ask for the American Christopher Diaz-Vargas. For the 30-year-old American, 30 wins, 19 knockouts, 5 losses, 1 coming by way of knockout. He last fought in April, beating Jose Antonio Meza by 8th round unanimous decision. Christopher Diaz-Vargas, he sort of always built himself up to a level, but then not being able to make that jump. Like December 2024, lost by unanimous decision for the IBF Latino Super Feather and the WBA NABO Super Feather. He has held those titles, I believe, prior. Lost them in a bid for a title. Then had that fight to, possibly regain them. Lost those. He's fought for world titles twice, losing on both occasions. He fought for the WBO World Super Featherweight in 2018 and lost to Masuki Ito. And then he fought Emmanuel Navarrete for the WBO World Featherweight belt in 2021, losing by round 12 TKO. So you can see he can get the domestic level done. He can build himself up to a world title. But then when he gets there, he's been so close. He lost the unanimous decision and he lost in the 12th round to Navarrete. So I don't think he would have won the decision against Navarrete anyway, but My point is he's so close to crossing that line. He's just not been able to do it on a few occasions. And I think this will be similar. I don't see him beating Sugar Nunez. I think Sugar Nunez he's exceptional, to be honest. All right, last card that we're going to talk about for this weekend, and that is the Matchroom boxing card this Saturday, the 6th of September, at Sunderland Live Arena. Pat McCormack's taking on Miguel Parra, 10 rounds at welterweight. McCormack, 30 years of age, 7 wins, 5 knockouts, 0 losses. Look, another good amateur. That's really now starting to come into his own. Bit like Galal Yafai, you'd almost compare them almost exactly. Galal Yafai won gold. McCormack, I believe, won silver at the Olympics in 2020. But he's also a gold medalist at the Commonwealth Games and a gold medalist at the European Games. So, very, very, very good fighter. No doubt about that. He's coming into this fight against a very experienced professional boxer in Miguel Parra, 32 years of age, 25 wins, 17 knockouts, 5 losses, 2 coming by way of knockout and 1 draw. For me, it'll be a tough fight, but I would expect Pat McCormack to get through. I know how Eddie Hearn does his matchmaking. He will not have put someone in front of Pat McCormack that we can't know that Pat McCormack can beat. It'll be a tough fight. It'll be another one to build McCormack's experience at the professional level. It might even be really, really close. But I would expect Pat McCormack to, at the end of the night, however it comes, have his hand lifted. But don't expect it to be a cakewalk. Mark Dickinson versus Troy Williamson, 10 rounds for the British boxing super middleweight title. Dickinson, the current holding champ, 26 years of age, 8 wins, 2 knockouts, 1 loss. Taking on Williamson, the veteran 34-year-old, 20 wins, 14 knockouts, 4 losses, 0 by knockout and 1 draw. Has previously held the super welterweight English title, obviously making the move up to super middleweight. Sandy Ryan will be taking on Jade Grierson. A big fight for Sandy Ryan. She's coming off a tough 2024 and, a tough start to this year. Formerly the WBC International Super Lightweight Champion, former WBO Welterweight Champion, Sandy Ryan, 31 years of age, 7 wins, 3 knockouts, 3 losses, 1 draw. Coming off back-to-back defeats to Michaela Meyer, the first one by majority decision, the second one by unanimous decision. I think Sandy Ryan is a very, very good fighter. For me, the one thing that I will criticize is I don't know if she's a welterweighter. That is the one thing. When you saw her, especially in the second one against Michaela Meyer, I was like, she just seems too small. I know Michaela Meyer is a big welterweighter, but maybe she can't make super lightweight, and we see this a lot. The fighter can't make super lightweight, but then they make the move up one division, and you're like, fuck, they look small. And that's sort of where I'm sat with Sandy Ryan. I think she's got all the skills that you want. I think she's a very, very, very good fighter. And I think the only difference between it is, I think she's better at super lightweight. But she's coming up against 34-year-old Jade Grierson, 5 wins, 2 losses, 0. She's coming up against Jade Grierson, 34 years old, 5 wins, 2 knockouts, 0 losses, 1 draw. I'm going to be harsh on Jade Grierson. I think this should be a very good night for Sandy Ryan. I'd expect Sandy Ryan to get a result here and get it quite comfortably. Alright guys, that is everything for today. Not a lot of news that came out over the past 24 hours. I wasn't originally going to merge this video with the video I did with Fabio Wardley and Joseph Parker, but it just got too long, so I made into separate videos. So make sure after this video, after you've left a comment about what we talked about today, go over there and check out the Fabio Wardley versus Joseph Parker video I just made. Like, subscribe. As I said, anything we discussed today, leave your thoughts in the comments. And I'm out of here, guys. See ya!